Gleeboot. Last week on Gleeboot, Kurt snapped at a waiter. We realized Will really didn't have any adult friends. Will and Emma got engaged, meaning Wemma is now canon. And Finn asked Rachel to marry him. And we were left on a cliffhanger. And that's what you missed on Gleeboot.
Yay!
Wait, so him snapping at the waiter happened in last week's episode?
Yeah, when he
That feels
wanted
like
cheesecake.
ages ago.
Well, it was ages ago because we have taken Christmas break.
Yes, that's true. Also, God, 2021 has already been a long year. So that could be another reason why.
Don't remind me.
Well, I'm Cullen. Welcome to Gleeboot, the show where we get drunk and talk about rebooting Glee one episode at a time.
Alyssa.
And I'm Hannah. This is great. Listen, we were distracted by the Bridgerton talk, and I think we're all a little jumbled.
We're talking about Bridgerton.
It's so hot.
The weather, but also Bridgerton.
This is where we transition into a Bridgerton podcast.
With our special guest, my good friend Emily.
Hey!
Welcome back.
Thank you. I know so much has happened between the Valentine's Day episode in season 2 and the Michael episode that we're going to talk about today. So big jump.
Yeah, you're coming into a lot of BS.
Coming in hot.
Like Bridgerton.
Like, yeah.
So what are we drinking today, everybody?
I'm
Big old
staying
glass
hydrated.
of water for
Yep.
me. Yeah.
Same. I'm staying hydrated.
I'm a thirsty bee, but also my skin's very dry in Michigan.
I'm drinking water and I'm drinking a peanut butter milk stout beer. It's the last can.
Of that beaver thing?
Yeah, Belching Beaver Brewery. Say that 1,000 times fast. For anyone who is not in California and is currently in actual winter places, I would like you to know that today is January, 15th?
15.
Yeah.
And it's 90 degrees
Oh.
here.
Woof.
Or at least it was. Still kind of feels like it a little bit.
Yeah, you're getting into the evening. It's cooling down,
Yeah,
right?
it's starting to cool down. But I want you all to
Okay.
know it was 90 degrees today. And I was planning, like last week when it was a normal degree for the weather.
Sure.
Temperature.
Normal degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit.
Yes, exactly.
Either.
I wanted to have like a spiked hot cocoa, but that was not going to happen today. 'Cause it's way too hot.
Yeah, that
Yes,
sounds
so.
disgusting. Not for me, but for you.
I'm drinking a Stella. Stella Artois.
I do like a good Stella. I saw that's a classic.
But why do you always drink your beer warm?
I put this in the fridge.
It's cold now?
Feel it.
Okay.
He says it's
What?
tepid.
This has been in the fridge since the morning.
Well, but you always keep the beer on the counter, so every time we see you drinking a beer, I think you're drinking it warm.
No, I put like a couple in the fridge at a time.
Oh.
So
you save space.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
opinion of you just went up a little bit more.
Oh, that's nice.
She just thought this whole time you were
It's a warm
drinking
beer
lukewarm
drinker.
alcohol. She thought you sucked, but now
Friday night recordings. They're always a blast.
Yes!
So today we're talking about season 3, episode 11, Michael.
Okay. Yeah.
The Michael Jackson episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm not
gonna
gonna
say
lie. Okay, go ahead. You first.
I thought it was pretty fun.
I like Michael Jackson, so I liked the songs in this episode, at the very least.
To me, some of this has one of my favorite scenes of the whole series, and then I think one of my least favorite, just ones that I don't get behind at all. So I think for me, this is it's a little bit up and down where you're like, yes, absolutely. And then you're like, oh,
No.
okay.
I kept trying to figure out what the episode was going to be about. I was like, Michael? Who the fuck is Michael? And it took me until like, obviously they start saying in the first like 25 seconds, but like from putting it on the production calendar to literally right before I started watching it, I was like, I have no idea what this is about. And I was like, oh, that's who Michael is. So that was a low point for me.
Gotcha.
But you got there, so we're
let's
good.
see, I have maybe 25 bullets written down. I think I just kind of like surrendered to it, and I just, I only fast forwarded through one song.
Cool.
That's good.
I was like,
That's good for
you'll have to let us know which one.
Yeah, it was unbearable to watch. I was like, I can't do this.
Oh, I'm excited.
I wonder if it's the same. I never fast forward, but sometimes I'll do other things.
Right.
I wonder if it's the same song.
I think it might be.
Then check out your phone for a few minutes. Yeah.
So, and throughout this episode of Gleeboot, I want to think about, in the Gleeboot, would we do a Michael Jackson episode?
Oh, why do you ask, Cullen?
Because he's a predator.
Okay, that's what I thought we were going for.
To the point, yeah. Because like I think
okay.
as an artist, you think maybe. As a person, you say, maybe we do a Dolly Parton week.
Hell yeah, we do. Oh my God, Emily, yes. Of course we do. That's such a great idea.
I was going to suggest Prince. Do a Prince
also
episode.
Prince. There, yes,
also an amazing
icons,
idea.
Allies, like.
Yes.
I'm going to be the one that's not opposed to doing a Michael Jackson episode. Because I love his songs, okay? You can, he is a predator, I'm not denying that. But his songs are amazing.
And the money no longer goes to him because he is dead.
True.
That's true.
So.
Wow, yeah.
Yes, I'm not up on the Jackson estate and anything like that. Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought about that a lot. And actually, okay, so I only fast forward through one song, but I did check my phone / computer during, I don't remember, another song, which I think I've actually referenced on the podcast before because I thought it was a different song, and now it has finally come up. But I looked up the documentary that came out about all of this, and I was reading up on that while I was watching that number.
What? Because the documentary is the Finding Neverland one. Is that what you're?
I think that's what's called. Yeah, about
the ranch.
Yeah, these two guys who've come forward after so many years of having to hide it. Talking about their experience being essentially like sexually assaulted. Yeah, I don't know.
It's called what now? Finding Neverland?
Mm-hmm.
Finding Neverland, I thought, was a musical starring Matthew Morrison.
It's something Leaving Neverland.
Leaving Neverland.
Yeah,
Leaving
because
Neverland.
Finding Neverland is
okay.
also a movie
about J.M. Barrie.
Yes, I was like,
yeah,
okay,
and then
wait,
the
let us
musical
define.
with Matthew Morrison.
And then they were okay. So that honestly makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so Leaving Neverland for all of our listeners who are now thoroughly confused.
They found it and they were like, not for me, so they left.
There we go.
Yeah, already getting into the heavy topics. So
welcome back.
Welcome back to Gleeboot. It's only been a week for you, but it's been a month or so for us.
Yep.
Yeah, about a month.
Yeah. So we have 3 main storylines. We have the fact that they're doing Michael. We have Finchel, and we have a Sam Sadie's scene. So.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Kind of it.
And I guess there's the college subplot a little bit. They kind of touch into which is also into other side plots, but like with Kurt and
Rachel.
Yeah.
So they're walking down the hallways. It's Brittany, Santana, Mercedes, Kurt, and Blaine. and they're like, the treble tones only lost because Tickles the Clown was high. And they're like, oh, no, we lost because we did Michael. They're like, yeah, we were sad we missed our chance to do Michael. And then they say, maybe we should do him for regionals. And Mr. Shu's like, I think that's a good idea. And then Blaine just bursts into want to be starting something. And it happens.
I did kind of forget that once you get into like season 3, it should be like the high production numbers for nobody.
Yeah.
Like the light,
because it goes
background
from the
and like the costumes for themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes from the hallway, then all of a sudden they're in the auditorium and there's production value with a capital P.
Yeah.
And
heavy
costumes, like Michael Jackson costumes.
Are they all costumes that Michael Jackson wore at one point?
They in like inspired, I think, because like one of them like was wearing the Thriller jacket, and then one of them was wearing I think like the silver and like the, I don't know if anyone was wearing a glove, but
I think Blaine
I think it was
had the
inspired.
glove.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Quinn just looked like she was from the 80s. She had a jacket with shoulder pads.
Which could be something. I don't know.
I liked whatever Santana had on. It was like a band cheerleader compilation.
Kind of like a majorette.
Maybe. I have no idea what a majorette looks like.
Like that
yeah,
costume.
no, I think I got. No, you're
Okay.
right. What you're saying is basically that. Yeah. But although that being said, though, I do enjoy that song, so I did enjoy that moment. Even though it was like the weird, like, why are we doing this right now? I
had a couple of thoughts. The first one was they're literally holding up everyone's day. Like, can you imagine being the people behind them trying to get to class and being like, are you fucking kidding me? Another number? This is the third one today. Like, I have to get to chemistry. And then the other one was there were just like random people jumping around and they were not part of the Glee Club. And I'm like, why are you here? Go
the jumpers, the jumping club.
I was like, who are
Not
these
on the
fabulous
stage,
acrobats?
No, they were like on the front of the stage or like jumping on and off the front.
Okay, so you're talking about the stage, not the hallway.
Yeah.
The stage.
I didn't notice these random people.
Oh my
at
god,
all.
they literally started the number on the stage with someone jumping around and then they all came down. I was like, who is that? I thought it was Mike. And I was like, it's not Mike because there's Mike. What's happening? Who are you? Go to class.
Yeah, no, the people who didn't have to go to class got to be in this. The other ones who were annoyed that they were in the hallway got to go to class.
I kind of want an episode in the Gleeboot where it's just about the other kids in the school reacting to the Glee Club and their antics.
Would be wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ryan Murphy kind of did that.
Did he?
In The Politician, they had like an episode of like a random student at the school, like, and everyone else was doing all their drama, and like you got to see it through his perspective, where he was just like annoyed by it all.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Because I feel like that would be the general tone. would be
that
like
would work in Glee for sure.
So then we've got so after that, what happened?
So then they're all talking about doing Michael in the Lima Bean coffee shop.
Okay.
And Rachel has a line that I hate but I relate to deeply, where she's like, I was never really into Michael. I never related to him as much as I did to Barbara or the Stevens. And they're like, the Stevens? And she's like, Stephen Sondheim and Stephen Schwartz. And I was like,
yes.
That's teen me, teen Cullen, the Stevens.
The Stevens is, yes.
Wicked and Into the Woods.
My blank face for the listeners says, I don't know who it was when she said it, and I don't know who it was when you said it.
Oh, the Stevens? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Musical composers and stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's a very theater thing to say.
At the Lima Bean, presumably it's in Lima, and then who freaking shows up who supposedly is always there? I'm like, bitch, you only know when he's there when you're there. It's Sebastian. Spoiler alert.
Probably the one, yeah, I was like, I don't know. it's anything like where I went, like to high school downriver, there was one place where everyone was. You saw everyone, and it was Taco Bell. Because we had a small town.
Hannah knows all about the magic of Taco Bell.
Oh.
Yeah, it brought my parents together.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, that's how they met.
That's adorable.
My mom
I
worked
like
at a
that.
Taco Bell, and my dad got high with his friends and wanted to eat Taco Bell.
Okay. So the meat cute over, yeah.
The meat,
chalupas.
MEAT cute.
Cute. Absolutely.
Finger guns were just made.
I'm here for all.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and Sebastian comes and he sucks.
yeah.
He really fucking sucks.
When did he become like, so last time that we saw him, was he not just a slightly annoying, somewhat like
Like a ne'er-do-well.
underhanded,
Yeah.
but not over the top evil villain?
Yeah.
Like, last time I saw him, he was just trying to get Blaine. Now suddenly everyone knows him, and like it's like, you're such a terrible person, and I'm like,
his agenda changed for sure.
Off camera.
Yes. Because he shows up in like villain style. He's like, I heard you were doing Michael. Blaine kept talking about it because I called him to figure out how to get something out of a blazer, like a stain.
A wine stain.
A wine stain.
Which is, like, okay.
Because he should be drinking wine at
but
17.
also what 17-year-old boy do you know that drinks red wine that causes
Right. That's true. They're drinking Natty Light. Like, that's what they drink.
Yeah, just your high school boy who's drinking a nice cab. Who loves a dry Merlot. No.
So he's like, I heard you were doing Michael, and the Warblers are doing Michael, and we're going first. So we have Michael, and everyone's like, Blaine. Because they're all talking about how much Michael means to them, and how Artie's first words were "hot damn" upon seeing Michael do the moonwalk, and
Which I cringed at majorly.
I think Artie gets some of the worst lines in the whole show. Like,
Yeah.
poor Kevin McHale.
Hot damn.
Yeah. So then they're mad at Blaine. They're going into the classroom. They're talking about how Blaine betrayed them by talking about it to the Warblers. Like, once a Warbler, always a Warbler.
Wait, are we going to talk about Santana standing up to him?
Oh no.
He literally
I forgot that.
He literally said a super racist thing and also acted like Malfoy.
He was,
literally
because
was like,
Santana's like, I'm gonna get Lima Heights Jason on your ass.
And he's like, okay, I can lock you up in prison with the rest of your family because my dad is like a top state prosecutor.
Attorney. Who says, what power does a state attorney even, like, what does that do for you?
Yeah, like, there's literally nothing. And then he goes, but if you want a pinata delivered to them, I'm sure my dad could get it to them for you. And I was like,
woof.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I remember being outraged.
Racist.
He's also literally just like Malfoy. He's like, well, my father is like this, and it's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I want this to be the Flash's origin story.
Poor Barry
this
Allen.
Is not my Barry. Allen. Not my Barry.
So yeah, so they're in the classroom. Puck calls Blaine a modern day Eggs Benedict.
Which I have to clarify. Line. I was like, Cullen, that's a breakfast food.
You got it.
And I was like, Benedict Arnold. And she's like...
It took me a while, but I very slowly remembered my fourth grade history.
Yeah.
I hated that line so much.
Yeah, that was,
I kind of liked it. Then Will writes on the board, we need to WWMJD, what would Michael Jackson do? Which, oof, cringe. Oof.
Yeah, I don't like that comparison to
what would Michael
there because of like that comes from, WWJD, What Would Jesus Do? So I didn't like that. And then, of course, the thing we started the podcast off with, didn't like those things combined at all.
Of course, nobody knew about that at this time.
People knew enough. By the time
why
Michael Jackson died, my parents didn't listen to Michael Jackson, so I thought he was a white woman who molested children. I would see pictures of him on the news, and my parents would be like, they were trying to shelter me from like talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
stuff.
there were allegations for years.
Yeah, I was like, I think by the time.
Yeah.
I think
like
by
this
season
happened.
3, there were still, there were definitely like aspersions that were being cast on Michael Jackson for like a decade.
Yeah.
Like years.
I have no sense of time, so.
Yeah.
I'll take your word
I was
for
pretty
it.
young.
Yeah. I was pretty young, I remember.
Because he died a few years before this episode.
No, that can't be right, because they're talking about him like he's still alive.
No, but because he died when I was early high school, and this was...
Yeah, he died in like
year.
2009, I think, 2010. He died on my mom's birthday. You know who else died on the same day? Farrah Fawcett. I won't forget.
He died in June of 2009. I looked that up. So it would have been freshman year of high school for me.
Yeah.
So weird. Why do I feel like they were all talking about him like he was still alive?
They did, because they said they were going to go to his whatever tour. But is that the hologram one?
I think so, yeah.
There was a hologram tour?
I yeah.
There was, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alyssa's getting all of this random Michael Jackson history. Fun fact, when I was a kid, I used to confuse the name Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan, and I would always mix them up. And so I would always be like, yeah, Michael Jordan, he sings that song. And they'd be like, my parents would be like, no, he doesn't. He sings basketball.
Not one song from Michael Jordan.
And I'm not going to lie, as I was telling that story, I was like, am I fucking up the names again?
You legit like said them and I was like, oh no, now I'm gonna mess it up.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to share a tidbit from my childhood.
That's so funny. She was like, one was in Space Jam, maybe. So there was music in that.
They talk about things Michael Jackson did, like when he fought like with MTV, and they're like, he would take the high road. And so they're like, he would take it to the streets. We're going to do a Jackson off. Which I looked up, and this episode came out before Pitch Perfect.
Oh.
So it was not a ripoff of the riff-off. In fact, Pitch Perfect's riff-off could have been
was a
riffing
ripoff.
off Glee.
Yeah. This had more of a rumble element, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember anyone getting shit thrown in their face on Pitch Perfect. Yeah, no, I said it once, I'll say it again. Glee walked so Pitch Perfect could run.
Yeah.
There you go. You're welcome, Anna Kendrick.
And so they meet with the Warblers in the middle of a very LA looking parking garage.
Yeah. That does not exist.
I was like, is that what that is? Because I was
in
like,
Ohio.
that is a sketchy area.
Yeah. And I'm almost like, why are these children out in the middle of night, like in a parking lot? And it's just like, are there no security guards or cameras?
Or parents asking, where are you going right now?
Yeah,
You have homework to do.
Or
Paula would
cars.
be like, it's 7:00. You can't leave the house. I wasn't allowed to go out once it hit like evening. Like even if it was like something that like my mom didn't know about and someone like called me, I was like, hey, like it's 8:00. Like, do you want to go to Dairy Queen? My mom would be like, no, you're in the house already. You can't leave the house.
I've also been listening to a lot of like murder podcasts, and so I kept thinking, be like, all of these kids could get abducted right now. Like, where are their parents?
That'd be so frightening if you were like, hey, I'm following this girl, I'm gonna go abduct her, and then you stumbled upon this scene. Like this.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
You're like, oh,
I don't want to fuck with this.
I'm just gonna back up.
Yeah. Also, are they singing Michael Jackson? Choices.
So
That's hilarious.
so the warblers come up to Blaine and Santana and they're like, "You didn't bring any backup?" They're like, "Oh, we did." And then the rest of Glee Club comes out and they start
What?
singing.
What was that for? What was the point of revealing them? That makes no sense.
There was no point to this scene.
No.
The drama
For the
of
drama.
the warblers showing up with everybody, and then but like strategically bringing two
yeah.
people out, so then you could also bring everyone else out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like,
and then
why
they
is Santana and Blaine like the people who stand up to him? Like, Finn is the captain. Like, why isn't he doing that?
he's
It's
busy
about
with his
the
own
beef.
storyline. he's got a
I
question.
thought you were gonna say that like it's because they're all gay. That's what I thought you were saying. Is like, it's like this is a gay feud.
This is
Straight people
Feud by
need not
Ryan
apply.
Murphy.
Finn's taking a stand right here, right now.
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
Because it's in Glee, they have captains, but whoever's the leader is about whoever has personal beef at that moment.
True.
Very true.
Yeah. So Blaine and Santana seem to have beef with Sebastian. Well, mainly because Sebastian was super racist to Santana. So if I was her, I'd have beef.
Yeah, she wasn't putting up with any of it.
And so they sing "Bad" by Michael Jackson, and they do like a rumble. Like they sing at each other.
Stupid. It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Wasn't this a mashup?
No.
It was
sing
all the
two
same song.
Oh, I thought they sang two different songs.
Oh, I thought they were all singing just different parts of Bad.
They were,
I
yeah,
don't
they just sang
remember.
Bad back and forth. But then they had like this weird choreography where they were like slow motion fist fighting.
They were like dance fighting, and I did not
Dance
like
fighting.
it.
No, it was not good. And then they had this moment where they were just like had a shot of the shadows, and the shadows were fighting, and I was like, okay.
It's one of those like where did you see the movie like Bring It On with Hayden Panettiere, and she's like in the gym and she's like trying to show how she's like crumping, and like when you're younger you're like, oh, like girl, you are getting it, and then you watch it as an adult and she's just like really badly dancing. Like that's how that felt to me.
Oh my gosh.
Where like I probably watched that like in high school and I was like, oh, like what's the tea? And then I watched it this time and I was like, oh, if I was the predator in the parking lot, I would have laughed. Like,
What is this interpretive dance?
yeah.
So then we see one of the warblers hands Sebastian a paper bag, and then he throws it towards Kurt, and Blaine pushes Kurt out of the way, and it's revealed to be a red slushie, and it gets Blaine in the eye, and Blaine like cries out in pain and is like on the ground like crying, and everyone's like, oh no, is he okay? And the warblers run off.
To be fair, we did not know that this got him in the eye. All we saw was him get slushied in the face, like happens every episode, and then him being super dramatic and not being able to get off the ground.
Yes, yeah. I was like, this was like one of the worst things I think has happened in the whole show.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, I mean, this ends up being a felony.
Still no blood though.
I think objectively it was like something where like when you could tell something was wrong and they got into the next scene where they're like something was not right with this slushie, you were like, oh no.
Now I understand why he was being overly dramatic.
Yes, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I also agree. Like, I feel like because we didn't know what was going on with the slushie, it did kind of feel like, oh, is this Blaine's first time being slushied?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought at first, and then I went, wait, no, I've seen this. I know what happens.
No, I had no idea what was going on. I was like, why does he just get up, dude? Like,
Yeah,
it's
you're
not
like,
that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Then later, I was like, oh, okay, get it.
Yeah, because we cut to the next scene, the next day at school, and Kurt's saying that Blaine's gonna need surgery, like his cornea was torn.
Mm-hmm.
And Will's like, I've never heard of a slushie do that. Finn's like, this isn't a regular slushie. Like,
Yeah.
And so it's like getting pretty intense. And Will's like, I reported it to Dalton's headmaster. Let the system handle it, this guys.
I have a zero tolerance policy for violence. It's like, really? Do you know how much violence has occurred in your choir room under your watch?
Yeah.
I have a whole 3 seasons to show you of your own show.
I was also not convinced that there was actually something in the slushie. Just because.
Oh, at this point in time.
Yeah, just because they were like, the teenagers were convinced that other teenagers put something in a slushie, but there was no evidence of any rocks or anything. Like, there was no physical evidence that we could see.
It could have just been a big chunk of ice that hit him in the eye the wrong way.
Exactly. And I'm like,
I see that.
I was like, well, actually, probably people would have been getting
corneal abrasions,
torn corneas, or corneal abrasions. And
the technical term.
Yes.
Yeah. Industry term.
Basically, just like, honestly, if people were getting slushied all the time in the face, that probably would have happened anyway, because, you know, ice can do that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I was not convinced that he put rocks in there or whatever.
Yeah, because Artie's like, I'm tired of them beating up on us and pushing us down, and don't give me the it gets better crap, because it hurt and it sucks and I want to get them back. And Mike is like, kind of like, yeah, and then he's like, Artie's like, who's with me? And he stands up out of his chair
silently. He says nothing.
And then he performs Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With Mike in a fantasy sequence.
Yeah.
This was that sequence that I remember mentioning in episodes past where Artie sang a song like out of his chair and danced. And I was like, oh my God, is this that weird one where he's in the tunnel? And you're like, no, this is what I was talking about. And
that's the one.
I hated it.
Why do they have to, like, remind us that Artie is played by an able person? Why? Why do they have to do that? Why does he have to dance? I like him. No, I don't like him the way he is, but I would like to like him the way he is.
I do think it's
and I think that's like part of it though, because I think in like today's age, and if you would like make those choices differently, like in his mind, like him not being in the chair is like him being strong and him like taking a stand, like literally. But in 2020, like you'd be like, no, like somebody in a wheelchair is strong and doesn't have to be like walking around to get your point across that you're so, you know, you are in pain, you're in anguish, you want to fight, like you can do that from your chair, like you can be sitting.
Exactly.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
I do have to mention that Artie looked, I hated his style, this style on him, but I think Mike kind of looked cool.
Well, did he have eyeliner on?
Yes,
I think he had eyeliner, then I really did like
they both did. But like, it suited Mike. It did not suit Artie, like, at all.
So I had to double check, and I was pretty sure. I've never seen this music video, and I don't think I've ever actually heard the song outside of Glee's context. But it's referenced to the music video, kind of like they did for the Britney Spears episodes, where they would do sequences like that. And I was looking at like because it's Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson, I was looking at like what they looked like. It was weird. I didn't like the music video at all. I didn't like it. It was weird.
Yeah, so that number, it happened. It happened to us.
Yep.
It happened
and then he's like, I better roll away.
Yeah, that's what he says. I better roll away.
I was like,
reminding you that he can't stand in case you forgot.
Yeah.
In that minute and a half.
Yeah. Once again, Will is an ineffective leader.
And just a terrible teacher.
Yeah.
Let the system handle this one, guys.
And then
That's a
basically
really good
he's all
impression.
upset and he was like tells them to like cool off, like go take a lap.
Yeah.
Go rub some dirt on it.
Yeah.
It actually works if you're bleeding out.
Okay. And that's survivalist tips with Alyssa.
I was like, wait, what? Okay.
Just remember, folks, if you're bleeding out and you don't have anything on hand, rub some dirt in it.
Okay. Pack your wound with dirt. All right. Cool.
Except your eye. I don't think that'd be a good place to put dirt.
I mean, if it saves your life in the moment, and then make sure once you get to the hospital, they get all the dirt out because you don't want that in there for a long time just to stop the bleeding.
Okay. I feel prepared for all of the adventures I will be taking outside of my house during this pandemic.
Yeah, I feel like that needs to get cross-stitched on a pillow.
I do cross stitch. I could do that.
Oh, there you go.
So Santana sees Kurt sitting there, and they talk about how angry they are and how they want to do something. And she's like, "Lucky for you, Aunt Snicks just rolled in on the Bitchtown Express."
Yeah.
And I want to get even with that guy, but we have to be clever. Violence won't work because we both want to go to college. We both want to do something. So they agree to team up and take Sebastian down. Kurt proceeds to do nothing. I just want to point that out. Kurt does nothing after this conversation.
He's just thinking about it.
It's true.
Cerebral.
And we'll get to what Santana does, but first, so Kurt is in class. He's in Spanish, which usually he's in French, but he's in Spanish right now.
Yeah, I'm curious how he's going to graduate if he's only taken however many years of French. Like, in order to graduate from high school in Ohio, you have to have either 2 credits of 2 different Spanish or languages and 3 of one, or 3 of one. So I don't know how he's going to graduate properly. Just
Maybe,
Rough.
well, if he already took 3 years of French, then that would do it. Maybe he's just taking Spanish for
true.
fun.
hopefully.
She was teaching Spanish.
She is teaching Spanish, which we will talk a lot about next week.
Yes, we will.
So why next week? Why not this week? He underlines a Spanish word on the board. This is how I know he was teaching Spanish.
His 4th word he knows in Spanish.
But
Next week is called the
isn't
Spanish
that what he
teacher.
does? Isn't that what his job? Like, isn't that his actual
official
job? Spanish teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't he actually just a Spanish teacher? Okay. I was like, I think that was. But then Kurt's dad comes to the school
Oh,
in
okay.
a move that, like, I was like,
Who
"You came to
died?
the school?" Yeah.
Who died?
Yeah. Because he pulls him out of class, and I'm pretty sure Kurt is like, "Is everyone okay? Who died?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, here," and he hands him the Niata letter.
I blew a gasket. You can't pull your kid out of class just to give them their letter for college. Like, they need to wait till they get home. You can't just do that.
Yeah. I have mail for you.
Yeah, he's literally
Let's
like
go.
a mailman. I just,
There is no parent in their right mind who would pull their kid out of class
Although in
For a
the
college
season
letter.
of
for a college letter.
when he does open the letter, I was like watching this, and with his dad's reaction, I almost cried.
oh.
I was like, because it was like in the pocket of like how he felt about Kurt kind of before, and how he wasn't really addressing like Kurt's sexuality and what he was, and then you can talk whatever. Go ahead. You can what. So he gets the letter.
Yeah, I do want to say that parents often pull their kids out of class. My sister's a high school teacher, and they would get pulled out of class for really dumb reasons.
Like what?
That's
Like,
so
I brought you
crazy.
fast food.
Are you kidding?
Which I found weird in today's day and age, because I find it like usually you can't just have like adults in a high school,
Yeah.
like especially if you don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's
I see
so
that in teen
weird.
shows all the time where like the adult shows up at school, and I was like,
No.
sometimes
Where's
schools
your
have,
visitor
like,
pass?
yeah, security, and like we don't know that you're a dad here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just some weirdo off the street.
Just handing out
Okay.
mail.
I want to say that Glee's budget has gone up by now. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So why do we not see more of it spent on external locations? To make the story just like be better.
They really put a lot into that light board. Everything has to take place at school.
It's January in Ohio, so maybe that's their excuse.
Is that what time it like time
Maybe
frame? Is that what makes? Does that even make sense with getting college information? It's fine. I don't
Early
really care.
decision. Well, I guess maybe February.
I think it does. Yeah.
I'll just spend my
February. I think is more.
I don't know how
these
these
stuff.
But like, it doesn't have to be outside necessarily. It just has
you
to
mean
be outside
external
the school?
Yeah.
I
think
in
it's
their
mostly
house.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
Take a trip
have a house.
to
We've
Kurt.
seen their house. Why didn't this
Well,
happen
they have
in their
rooms
house?
of a house. We don't know if it's actually a house. Remember,
It doesn't matter. Why didn't we use those rooms?
I think because their life is at this school and predominantly in the choir room. So like,
I think this scene was just the urgency of the dad having to get that letter to Kurt.
So goddamn stupid.
I want a couple of scenes where Bert gets the letter at the house and is like beside himself wanting to open it, but knows that he can't go get his son out of class and he has to wait until his son comes home. I want the internal struggle of Bert having to wait for Kurt to open the letter.
So angsty.
So anyways, they're walking around and like Kurt's going to all these different rooms and eventually he goes to the choir room because he's like, this is fitting. And he opens the letter and it is a really sweet scene because he's like, I got in, and Bert is like, you went through all those struggles, people tried to kick you down, tell you were nothing, and you rose above them all. Like every challenge you took it on, and like they tried to take this moment from you, but you have this moment and don't ever let anyone like dim it. Like you have
you won. He was like, you won.
But he's not actually
like,
in yet, right?
He's a finalist.
Right.
Big deal. Yeah.
Which means he's not in.
There's not in, but you're a finalist.
Okay.
He has to audition.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I also didn't know what that meant. I was like, finalist. What?
Yes, because I think it's since it's a performing arts college, and I think maybe this is because I've seen the whole series, so I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think it's because you have to like go in front of a panel then.
Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
So then he finds Rachel and he's like, I got my letter, and then she's like, oh, I'm so happy for you, Kurt. And then she starts to get emotional and cry, and he's like, I'm sure your letter's coming. And she's like, I'm not gonna get it. Yeah.
Yes, in a very me moment was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, so.
She's like, everyone else has all these big plans, and all I have is my boyfriend. And I'm like,
wait, was this before or after Quinn?
This is after Quinn. I put Quinn with the Finchel storyline.
Okay. Yeah. So that's why she's also like, everyone has plans, because she's also referencing Quinn. Because at first I was like, because when I remember watching that, I was like, who else do you mean? I was like, your boyfriend doesn't have any plans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who knows if anyone? And I'm like, oh yeah, Quinn.
Yeah.
To be fair, I thought this was Rachel's best crying scene that I've seen from her.
All right.
I will give you that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that she did embody probably what a lot of people think about if you don't know what you're gonna do. So it's very overwhelming once you get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But also,
for
like,
the first time,
Kurt was like trying to tell you something.
Yeah. I'm not saying that this was a good moment for her to be crying,
right?
But it was
authentic.
a realistic crying moment.
Authentic.
Yeah, because she does feel lost, and you can't empathize with that.
I mean, what's crazy is, I guess I can even empathize with it right now being, 26 and like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And then I'm just thinking about it now, like, I was definitely like that in high school where like I thought, okay, once I get like figure out college, everything's gonna like I know what's gonna happen after that. And then poor Rachel, she's gonna have a lot of these moments, I bet, because everybody does.
Oh, girl. Let me tell you. Everyone goes through, but I think that's also the nature of the show. It's not high school problems just become
Bigger
like slightly out of high school problems. There's no end in sight for these people.
So high school problems become problems.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just problems. Like just the problems.
So meanwhile, they go to visit Kurt, Rachel, and Finn. Go to visit Blaine, who's sitting home with an eye patch. And they're talking about his surgery, and he's like, I'm nervous, but I should be fine. And Rachel's like, there are plenty of performers who only have one eye. And then Finn is like, Stevie Wonder didn't have any, and he turned out fine.
Oh God! And he brought him all the movies with the people with eye patches, like a permanent situation.
Shout out to the FP.
Oh God. We have to watch the sequel.
For anyone who doesn't know and would care to know, this movie is about...
It's a Civil War allegory.
Yes.
And I shit you not, it's a Civil War allegory. It may take you a while to realize it, but it is.
They use Dance Revolution to fight wars in this little white trash town.
And yeah, there's a lot of problematic things that happen, and it's just so great to watch. Like
the main character has an eye patch, but it's not only the main character, it's also the actor. The actor has an eye patch. He does not have an eye.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's like he's just acting himself. The character doesn't have an eye patch. The actor has an eye patch.
Blaine has another great role model to look up to.
Yes.
Artie. If you can put somebody with an eye patch, you can get somebody in a wheelchair.
See?
Yeah.
Casting. This sounds delightfully terrible.
Yes.
That is a word for it. Oh, just a warning though. There is a lot of swearing.
I just keep thinking about that movie anyway. But they're about to sing one of the most boring songs that I've seen.
That's what I was
show.
gonna say. I was like, and
I went
big
click.
Snooze.
Fast forward. Oh, they're done. Play.
So we have what I think is a really cute moment where they're all acting like friends, which happens so rarely on Glee, and I really enjoyed it.
I literally wrote, oh great, they're gonna sing to cure his eye.
Yep, they sing Ben.
The soup in a song, that's gonna do it for your eye.
Yeah, because they bring chicken soup and then they sing Ben. Which, yeah, it is pretty boring.
Heard outside of this context that particular song.
I haven't
actually really like that song.
I don't. Yeah, okay. So I was like, you said that you do enjoy Michael Jackson music. I don't think I've ever heard that one.
Interesting.
Other than the 2 times I've watched that episode of Glee.
I don't know where I heard it, but I definitely heard it before Glee. And I like it.
I only listened to like the A-sides and top hits. Like that's really the only ones I know.
Well, there were 2 songs in this episode that I hadn't heard before. So,
oh, interesting.
Yeah. Scream was one of them.
Yeah, Scream's one of the ones I know it was popular. I just had never heard it.
And then what happens after that? I don't even...
So Santana goes to Dalton. Yes. And Emily's so excited. Santana goes to Dalton wearing a fierce hat.
Yeah.
The whole outfit, the whole shebang.
Did we ever see like a sign or anything saying that this was Dalton?
No, we just see warblers.
Yeah. It's just that they're in their practice room.
But have we ever seen that room?
No.
No,
Okay.
see,
Okay,
you wanted
so
more
That's the
location.
school's
Here you
symphony
go.
practice room.
Here's the thing, like
You wanted different places.
yeah,
Here
but
you
I need
go.
to know. I need to know. There's no like establishing shot, okay? So I thought Santana was just in a random room in her own school.
Yeah,
And the
Glee
Warblers
doesn't
showed
really do.
again because
They
they
don't
already
really
did
do
that once.
establishing. They don't really do establishing shots, do they?
No, I
none.
had no idea that they were supposed
I'm
to be
really
in Dalton.
just realizing that they just bounce from one place to the next.
They just
and hope
put you
that
in there.
You
You're just
realize
there.
what's happening.
No, I had no idea they were supposed to be in Dalton until Cullen said something. And to be honest, I am not convinced that it was Dalton.
I feel like there's a whole section.
Then
of
why
the
were they there?
Because they show up randomly.
Yeah, I guess if they're always at the coffee
They
shop
are.
and
They
come to the
already showed
school.
up randomly in a parking lot.
And
Why would they not show up randomly to sing at Santana?
There's,
Santana sang at them, to be clear.
True.
there's a section of the podcast that I feel like is Alyssa just like ranting at Glee's lack of logic or like
Yeah,
lack
I'm
of
sure.
setting
Lack of
things up.
visual logic.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I feel like me and Hannah have just like accepted that Glee is like this, and Alyssa's like,
Well,
no,
I
it doesn't
have to
make sense.
say-
I have to point it out.
I think
Like,
it makes
valid.
sense for like people who have watched it at least one time through, like at least like a chunk of it. And this is Alyssa's first time every single episode. So it's like,
True.
I get it.
Yeah,
like,
the
it's-
fresh eyes.
you're not quite as
I've seen the whole
expected.
series, so
But
yeah.
now that you've pointed out, it's gonna fuck me up. The fact that there are no establishing shots, I'm gonna be like, where are we?
But this is my favorite song, and I think my favorite scene of the entire series. Like if somebody like years later was like, what stood out to you most? It was this. This is the one that I remember the most because
Yes.
I thought it was. She sings so
So good.
beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
Santana is like, she has a good name for him, like Hair Gel or something. She calls him like, may look like the bully from an 80s villain or the bully from an
the
80s
villain
movie.
from a cheesy 80s movie.
And she's like, stick around, and Cello stick around too. And so they have, because she's like, I think you put something in that slushy. I think you're lying. And he's like, she challenged my honor. I demand satisfaction, like a musical duel.
Which like. You're supposed to be a villain, but like, what a dorky thing to do.
Like, also, there's like,
Milady, she challenged my honor. Tip my fedora.
You're like, what a loser.
it's like the Warblers, kind of like in Pitch Perfect, where they operate under these like should be like obvious rules. There are obvious rules in this small world, and the audience has to like catch up with it. And that's definitely one of those for the Warblers. It's like we have to have a music duel. I'm like, what?
Yes, the microcosm where they have to like, for some reason, you can be super racist and like say that people should be like sending piñatas, but also if you accuse me of nefarious deeds, I must defend.
It just
Yeah.
makes no sense.
So it leads into a banger of a number, the Glee cover of Smooth Criminal.
Which I love that song in general.
So
Mhm.
good.
I thought the cellos were choice.
They were. I do have to point out my obsession with noticing visual things. The cello strings were already snapped when they started
Yes, I
playing.
noticed that.
I did notice that this time around. I was like, did they go so hard that they broke the string?
Yeah.
It
There's
was that cool.
that group. I think they're called just Two Cellos. I don't think that's these guys. That might be, but like they go so hard, like you can see their bows just coming apart as they play. It's sick.
Wild.
Well, I wonder, because like they're apart at the beginning of the scene. I wonder if they like filmed it so many times, and
maybe.
that's why. Or
Yeah.
if they just cut them
con-
and was like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
continuity
they
issue
went
or
too-
something.
They went too
Yeah.
hard on the cellos. With
Yeah.
good reason, because she had that blazer and like the pants, like the power suit and the hat. And they
And
were running
she's-
around the room.
Yeah, like running through the chairs, and she's singing the like high note where she's like, "I don't know," that one where she's like,
Mhm.
Oh
"I
my
don't
God.
know,"
I
and
ate
it's
it
like,
up.
yeah, it's so good. And then afterwards, he's like, "Yeah, you're right. I put rock salt in that slushy. It was meant for Kurt." And she's like, "That's not." He's like, "But it's okay." She's like, "That's not okay. You just salted my friend. Like he has to go to the hospital." And he's like, "Because there's nothing in this one," and then he slushies her.
Yeah. Also, where are they getting all these all the time? Like, did you know she was coming? Or did you just like when they left like the Warblers, like while this whole like Smooth Criminal thing was happening, there was someone like at a 7-Eleven, like,
Yeah. And they're like, we've got 45 seconds.
they're like looking at their watch and they're like,
Yeah.
get back. That's what I
Yeah.
think about. If the
So-
school has a slushy machine or not. But yo,
But-
what a twist.
So Santana comes back to McKinley, and they're all rushing into the choir room. She's like, "Everyone, hurry! Brittany, lock the door." And she's like, "Yeah, but I don't know how to do that."
Love.
And she's like, "I found out that Sebastian put rock salt in that slushy. I have it recorded. I taped it to my underboob." And she pulls
Which
out
I
a
thought a
tape.
lot about. And
Which also they
just-
splashed that slushy down her shirt, like it could have been.
she was wearing something that was tighter, but she did have a jacket on. I keep thinking about it. I was like, I don't know how she did it. So I literally kept like looking at my boobs being like, where could I tape a tape recorder?
I was like, yeah, just lift and then like
Lift,
let it go down
tape.
and then
But then what do you do about boob sweat?
yeah,
know?
like it could be very moist.
So, I mean, all of that being said, the fact that I can't figure out, like, she's a genius. Duh.
True. Very
She did
true.
say she was gonna be clever, so
Yeah. And so Kurt, who did nothing, stands up and is like, "This isn't how we want to do it." And Santana's like, "Kurt, this isn't violent. This is clever. I taped it to my underboob." And he's like, "So what? He gets expelled, and they do Michael at regionals anyway. Like this isn't how we want to win. Like we want to take the high ground." And it's so frustrating because Santana did something clever, and this student did assault somebody, and send them
Yeah.
to the hospital and should face consequences.
Mhm.
yes.
I was really mad that
That's
they
what I
decided
don't-
not to follow through.
That's what I don't understand.
Because so what if they do Michael and he would still be expelled? Like, first of all,
Right.
that's
Like
good because he seems to be a terrible person.
yeah, it shouldn't be up to you what the consequences are. But also that whole bit that Santana says afterwards where she was like, Kurt, if we taped this to your junk, we would have been singing about it all week.
Yep.
Yep. Very
I was
true.
like, that, no truer statement has ever been said.
So accurate.
And I was like, even someone was like, yeah, absolutely. I was dying.
Can you imagine if they got this kid expelled though? Like, Dalton would have a major morale crisis, and they probably would just win anyway just because of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just crumble. Just
Yeah,
fold.
like, it's just illogical to me. Like, it doesn't, like, so many times in other places in the show, they should have taken the high ground, and instead, like, people slash tires. Like, why take the high ground now? I don't get it.
Makes no
Right.
sense.
Yeah, it's so endlessly frustrating. And Kurt's like, "Come on to the gym," or not the gym, the auditorium. I have something. I have another plan. I invited Dalton. So they all go to the auditorium, and the Warblers show up, and Sebastian's like, "This smells like public school," and I'm like, "Ugh," and then he's like, "What are you gonna do?" And they're like, "You may perform Michael at regionals, but you don't get Michael." And he's like, "Yeah, oh, and you do?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then they sing, "It's black or white." And they
Yes.
sing it. There's this weird feature where like it blends their faces together, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
referencing
upsetting.
the
Yeah,
music
just
video.
transitions one face to another.
Yeah, that music video is deeply upsetting. But fun fact, Tyra Banks is in it from way back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Glee, I was terrified.
Yeah, no, it's definitely weird, and it's not cool to look at in the actual music video. It's still very weird.
Just jarring all around.
Eh.
It is actually one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs, though. It's
Oh
the
no,
bop.
and I thought, I mean, the singing, like the performance of it, I thought was, good, quite nice.
Yeah,
There's a
it's-
choir in
it
the
was a bit-
background.
I lost my fucking shit. I was like, why is there a choir? Where did you get these people? Where are
meant
their
that
guest passes?
Santana was being clever and doing all of that work. Kurt
That's what
was
Kurt did.
reserving the auditorium, booking the choir.
So it's not like he didn't
his
do anything. He just didn't do anything clever.
No, he did something completely off track.
Was this the one that I was looking at my phone?
No.
Okay.
There is this part where Artie's doing the rap break as always, and
Yeah.
Alyssa said one of my favorite Alyssa quotes. Why does Artie always do it?
Yeah,
That's
I
true,
don't
though.
like that part.
So that's the end. Oh no! So afterwards, Santana is like, yeah, we have you on tape admitting that you put rock salt in Blaine's slushy. And now the rest of your teammates know what kind of a sleazebag you are. And she tosses in the tape, and they're all like, oh my gosh, seriously?
Yes, because the other warblers join New Directions
Yeah.
on stage for this performance, except for Sebastian.
Yeah,
Which I
he
guess
did
was
the
Kurt's
slow
plan.
clap at the end.
He knew that they were gonna join them,
Yeah.
which fine, whatever, it worked.
So that's the end of the Michael Jackson storyline.
Michael.
Let's talk about Finchel. So Finn comes up to Rachel and he's like, oh, I want, he's like, this is exactly 2 days or 36 hours from when I proposed to you, and you said you'd give me an answer. And she's like, I'm not ready yet. And he's like,
Not ready to give an answer.
yeah.
Not
Yeah, she's putting it
not
off.
ready to get married. Which should have been the answer. But
Alas.
Alas, yeah, because she's like, I don't know, I'll be going to New York. He's like, we go to New York together. And he's like, okay, no pressure, like, take your time. So then Rachel goes and asks Quinn in the bathroom. She's like, Quinn, I need advice about, like, a woman problem. And she's like, are you pregnant? I'm like, and
That
she's
was
like,
good. That was really good.
to be fair, if a random girl who maybe kind of sometimes I might be okay friends with, but mostly just acquaintances, came in and asked me that, and I had been pregnant before, I probably would have jumped to that conclusion as well.
Yes, an adult problem would definitely qualify. I'd be like, whoa.
Also, Alyssa, you made a good point. How exactly are they friends? Like, from what I understand, they still probably kind of hate each other. So I don't understand how they're friends.
And maybe she just saw, I was like, this is the person that she thinks will give her the most unfiltered opinion, maybe.
they have a
And
bit
she's
of
like,
a friendship, like we had when Quinn decided not to tell that Shelby was sleeping with Puck, another bad team decision. And Rachel and Quinn were all like, friends, we're friends, right?
Oh. I guess so.
That's like fair weather friends.
Fair weather.
I'm not saying the friendships are very well drawn out or established. I'm saying they're kind of there.
Yeah, I was like, but we can make the connection that she would. So, and Quinn's advice is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, Quinn is like,
She dishes.
she's like, Rachel, you have such a bright future ahead of you. And she shows Rachel her letter. She's like, I got into Yale and I dated Sam, I dated Finn, I dated Puck. I thought I was in love with all of them. But by the time snow falls in New Haven next year, I won't be thinking of any of them. I'll just be thinking of my future.
You just like slide over the fact that Quinn got into Yale the same way the show does.
Well,
Big decision,
then
yeah.
he did it well.
That was the best part of the show for me. I was like, yes! Yes!
Also was so confused as to how she got into Yale.
She has
it's such a hard
really
school
good
to
grades,
get into.
right?
Yeah, and she kind of basically is like, yeah, I guess like being a teen mom and putting that in my essay really worked or something. And I was like,
Yeah.
I
I guess,
would
but
have
also is Yale gonna be like, are you bringing your baby?
yeah, like I kind of feel like the show should have given her something more substantial, because otherwise I'm like, but how did you get into Yale? Because that's a really hard school to get into.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe if you're from Ohio and you're get good grades and you're a cheerleader and you're involved in Christian, services, and then you have a baby, they'd be like, interesting.
I don't know.
We need to
I
diversify.
I could see writing a really good essay about her challenges and people being swayed by that.
Yeah, I mean, she was homeless for a while.
She was homeless. She also gave her baby up for adoption, which probably I would have mentioned. I would imagine that she also would have mentioned that.
Yeah.
And like if she has impeccable grades and also she was captain of the cheerleading squad, like that's a big deal.
I wonder if she glossed over that time she cut her hair and dyed it pink, had a nose ring, and then like was in a bully girl club.
Yeah,
maybe she put that in it. You never know.
It was like one sentence. It was literally that exact sentence. And she's like, moving on.
Supplied a photo with the app. They're like
legit never know what colleges are gonna like
look for.
Exactly about your applications, your essays. I feel like with an essay you could get away with a lot more.
I never had to write an essay for undergrad because I did all those like if you go to the school and tour, you either get the admission fee waived or you pay a smaller admission fee and then you don't have to do the essay part.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's just like that's basically how I based the schools I was applying to be honest. It's like I don't really want to write an essay.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah.
So Quinn is like basically like, no, she's like, you and Finn are a lovely couple, but why go into your future dragging an anchor from your past? You have such a bright future ahead of you. And it's smart because they're just a high school relationship. And sometimes those last, but sometimes they don't. And it's time to make those tough adult decisions.
Yeah, it was perspective.
Rachel's like, doesn't she say, why are you being so mean? And
then Quinn's like, you wanted my honest opinion because you know what I've been through and you knew I would give you one. So take it.
And she's like, okay. And then Quinn sings Never Can Say Goodbye.
Which she looked pretty, but I was like getting in a ball gown to do this.
But she was gorgeous.
No, she looked
that's all I wrote. I was like, she's so gorgeous.
I loved her dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I think that's what I noted about this scene was how pretty I thought she looked and not really anything about the song.
Yep. Yeah. I agree. And I think that's it's unfortunate because I think that's like a lot of symptoms of some of like Quinn's purposes. Like we focus so much on like how pretty she looks in some songs. It's like you forget that there's
I guess that is I was like, that's interesting to think about, that you really only see like the reflection of Quinn as she's presented to you and not really more than like that surface look on a lot of different occasions.
Yeah. I have to say though that line that she said, like by the time the snow falls in New Haven next winter, I thought that like that whole line was just very poetic, and I was like, oh wow, That was a good line.
That's why you got into Yale, Quinn.
Yeah, she wrote
Yeah,
her
there
entire
you
essay like that.
Yeah.
Then that I understand.
Yeah, and during the song, like Finn and Puck and Sam all come up and dance with her. And then when she's singing in the choir room, they're all like looking at her. And then she opens her locker and you see all her pictures, and she has this Post-it note over Rachel's face.
She also has a picture of, clearly it's a production still of when she had the pink hair. And I noticed that and was like, how'd you get that one, Quinn?
Yeah, what a candid.
Yeah.
And then afterward the song, she announces that she got into Yale, and she thanks each and every one of them that they were a part of making her who she is today. Everyone's so happy for her, and then we see Rachel sitting there all kind of sullen because she's thinking about Quinn's advice.
Again, another moment where Rachel has chosen this time to not be happy for her fellow teammates about their college decisions.
Yeah.
And instead
focus on herself.
Yes, it was like, that's if there's nothing you can take away from the show, is that Rachel has only selfish motivations.
Yeah.
So then after the Santana underboob scene where the class, or where they're all going to
The auditorium.
Finn is like, hey Rachel, do you want to like hang back? And they sing I Just Can't Stop Loving You. And afterwards Rachel says, yes, I will marry you, because she hasn't been a finalist in Yada. She doesn't have anything. So she's like, yep, I'm going to hold on to Finn.
Was this the song where I was on my phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although the one thing though that like I did think was kind of like interesting as like mature boy, because I don't think high school boys think like this, to talk like this, was that like Finn was like, I think you hear me better when I'm not talking. So like the communication is that song, and I was like, is that growth, or like, do I think that's weird?
That seems a bit not like effective communication. Just gonna say that.
Yeah, like I couldn't tell if that was like
it,
that's troubling from the start, is that you're not talking about this really big decision. You think that this song's gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
That's a good way to sum it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Finchel.
So then we see Kurt at his locker, and Rachel comes up to him and is like, I'm a finalist. I got my NIADA letter. It's like, oh, I'm so happy for you. And he's like, have you told Finn yet? And she like blinks, like obviously she hasn't told Finn yet. So she said yes because she had nothing else, but now she has something else. So.
Way to make a decision to marry someone for the wrong reasons.
That's so Rachel.
Yeah, so I was like, that, yeah, she's so young.
That's on brand.
And just to be like, I'd rather have something than nothing, and then you get something that is probably better than the something you already agreed to.
And then you're like, uh-oh, what do I do?
Like, well, double book myself.
And so we just have one last storyline. We have the Sam-Sadie scene where Sam brings Mercedes into the auditorium and is like, I thought we'd sing together for Michael Week. We could sing Human Nature. And he's like, I promise just one song, then you can go back to Shane. And Mercedes is like, I can't. And she starts walking away. Then the music starts playing and Sam starts singing. Then Mercedes just joins in anyway.
Yeah.
And they sing Human Nature. And it's really cute.
It's actually a really good song. It's a nice song.
Yeah.
I also forgot about Shane. That was one of the points when I was watching this episode, because I had missed between like season 2 to season 3. I was like, oh yeah, she had a man.
Yeah.
Where he be? Who knows?
Yeah, no, do you ever see him?
Yes.
A couple of times.
Okay.
Not often.
We haven't seen
Sprinkle.
him in a while. Was there something that like he didn't leave school? Like he's still in school. We just haven't seen him, right? Like
Yeah.
Last time we saw him was when Sam got slushied, and he was like, he'll be okay.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was such an adorable scene. And Sam put Mercedes' name up in lights on the stage. And it was so cute. They're just so cute together.
I love how we're always like, Sadie's is so cute in the shows. Like, but you know what you're getting? More Finchel.
Yeah,
Yep.
shove it down your throat. But yeah, they're actually one of the sweeter couples, honestly.
Yeah.
One of the more honest, because she's always honest about like what she wants and kind of needs, and he's kind of always like, "Yep, great, like I can do that." Like the man from the movie Holes, where I can fix that.
Yes, I thought that too. I
And the
think his
school
name
teacher's
is
like,
Sam.
It is Sam.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's just
Sam
the thing
is
about
just
Sam's, I guess.
wholesome.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So that's the end of the plots of the episode. So
Whoa.
that means
Did we say that they kissed?
Oh
Oh my
yeah.
god,
They
guys!
French.
They smooched.
they
French.
kissed.
They did.
It
Which
was.
will
I
probably
literally
prove
like screamed. It was so good.
Complications, yeah.
Yeah.
So like they're kind of honest, but maybe Mercedes isn't being totally honest with herself. Could we say
Mhm.
that?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It was like it was. Yeah, it was like with a touch of infidelity.
Just a dash.
Oh, sprinkle.
But we like it. It's cute. So
Yes.
fortunately for I already forgot his name, Shane. Okay.
Shane. That's how the writers feel about him too.
Yep.
They're like, what's his name? Sean. Yeah. So that means it's
Ta-ta-ta,
Tina
Tina's
time.
Time.
So I have a confession to make. I thought that Tina did not appear at all in this episode.
I think she has
Same.
one line.
But you didn't count it. You looked it up on Wikipedia. I don't remember even seeing her face.
I don't remember
don't
her
either.
saying anything, but the Glee Wiki said she said something in the episode.
I don't believe it. Because I don't remember seeing her either.
I feel like she wasn't there.
Was she the one who agreed that if Kurt had taped the recorder to the junk that they would have been singing about it all week? Maybe was she the person that said yes? That's the only moment where I can think of there being a moment where she might have said anything.
I can't even. I don't.
Unless she said something to Quinn when she got into Yale, like, yay. And like we're counting that.
Usually I remember like Tina being in scenes and like seeing her face and knowing that she was in the room.
Yeah, no, this is
I
not
just like legitimately just don't remember her at all being in that episode.
Minimal Tina
Okay,
episode.
so it says in the choir room, everyone is discussing how the Warblers have stolen their idea. Tina wondering if there is a show choir committee board they can complain to.
Yeah, that's the line that I
Oh,
saw, but
that's
I don't
the
remember
Wow.
that.
I
I
don't
don't
either.
remember it.
I do, okay. I got you. But that sucks. Poor Tina.
Yeah. The fact that like we couldn't even remember that she was actually like shown in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, you know.
I actually remember thinking like, was Tina sick the week that they shot this, or?
So now it's time for MVPs and LVPs. So Emily, who's your least valuable player this week? I have no idea who mine is.
I mean, I was like, I guess obviously Sebastian is like the least valuable player because I just like, it's like appalling how much he sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
figured
agree with that. That's what I put. I was like, he committed a crime.
An obscene crime with forethought. Like
Yeah,
that was
that was premeditated assault.
It was a premeditated crime. Not
premeditated assault. It's not like he picked up rocks off the floor and threw them at him.
And he even identified a target. He said it was meant for Kurt. Like you went off the rails so hard.
That's a psychopath.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
I think it was Sebastian too.
For me, that was just, you're like, that's crazy, people. Like, wow, yeah.
He went from slightly annoying rival lover to insane villain.
you're like, well, we don't really like this love triangle anymore, so we're gonna do cornea damage to and we're like, we like that. We'll roll with that.
Good choice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
That's
Sebastian.
for me.
Yeah. Are we unanimous? Sebastian's the MVP.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So Emily, who is your MVP?
Santana wins it all. It's the whole bit where she stands up to him once in the cafe, and then she actually thinks of a good idea to foil him, follows through on the idea looking like a bad bitch, and then at the end she even gets the upper hand when she just tosses the cassette at him, and it's just like, everybody now knows that you suck. So to me, I thought she won all around.
I loved Santana. I actually went with someone in the background. I went with the cello guys, because that was fucking awesome.
I feel that for sure.
So I went with the cello guys.
I went with Quinn because she got into Yale and she knows that high school is not the end of her life, and she has plans for her future. And I just feel like she was a very put together, mature person this episode.
Yes, also a bad bitch, but in a different way.
Yes.
Like an adult way.
It's so hard to choose between Quinn and Santana for me. I think I'm gonna go with Santana, just because she's been really sucky a lot this season, and this was like a really good episode for her. So like, this is the Santana I want.
Yeah.
Who's like clever and sassy, and gets shit done. This is the
It
Santana
is
I
peak.
like to see
It is
around.
like a peak Santana moment, because her anger is not directed at other people in new directions, and she's not kind of just spouting off to spout off.
Yeah.
She actually has
a good outlet.
Purpose. Yes. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. In hating Sebastian, we get so much out of it.
Yes. So now let's talk about the music. They were all Michael Jackson songs, of course. We have Wanna Be Starting Something, Bad, Scream, Ben, Smooth Criminal, It's Black, It's White, Never Can Say Goodbye, I Just Can't Stop Loving You, and Human Nature. So, Emily, what was your least favorite song?
I know you like it. I think it was bad. I think I was bored. I think it was like a nice moment overall, but I think it was definitely like background for me. I think it wasn't doing anything other than they were probably like, this is a song we could put in there.
Ben?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you said Ben or Bad.
Also in that scene, Blaine's like, let's toast to Kurt getting into NIADA or getting the wait list or whatever he got.
Yeah, finalist.
And everyone was like, Rachel's gonna blow up. But yeah, I'm gonna have to say Ben. I was super bored and I don't think I like that song.
I'm gonna go with the What About Loving Someone?
I Just Can't Stop Loving You.
Yes, that one.
Is that the one Rachel, the Finchel one?
Yeah, the Finchel one. Yeah. I was looking
like
at my phone. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
It was gross.
I'm going with
over Finchel.
I'm going with that one too. And of everyone on this podcast, I'm the biggest Finchel supporter.
Yes.
But it was just a boring love song, and they're being so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, with the context it does, you're like, oh God.
So I'm kind of jumping off the ship.
Oh boy.
We'll catch you. We won't let you down.
Yeah.
I want to see how hard Finn falls when Rachel drops him.
Oh my God.
Here's the thing though, because in like this kind of stuff, I don't know the exact timeline, but like, because he dies in real life,
mm-hmm.
do like it becomes a like. I think you get back on the ship, but like for real life reasons, you know, like because you're like, oh, like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a weird thing because I think once you see that you'll get into, because are you almost done with season 3? Is that
We're like about
you're halfway done?
through, yeah.
Halfway done.
Was that season 5?
Yeah, I think so. It, you know, it plays into like a different things, but then you're just like, yeah, because it has to end somehow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out. But
Yeah,
in the meantime,
you'll see.
In the meantime, Emily, what was your favorite song this week?
Do we even have to say? It's Smooth Criminal.
Yeah, same. So good.
It was, yeah, I think, I don't know. Her vocals, even his vocals, like even when you're like a villain, he's a good male like counterpart.
Yeah.
A good foil to her voice. So I thought they duetted really well.
It was his most tolerable moment when he was singing.
When he wasn't talking, when he was just singing.
Was bad when they were having the rumble.
Yeah.
The rumble.
Okay, not that one. I think I'm gonna go with the Sam and Mercedes one.
Human Nature.
Human Nature is very sweet.
Yeah, it was super sweet, and I like that song, and I forgot how much I liked it. And then when I saw them singing it, I was just like, oh, they're adorable. It was perfect.
Honorable mention to Human Nature, but Smooth Criminal takes the cake for me. Yeah. So
no, that scene lives rent free in my head. From like for years, like if I think about it randomly all the time.
Yeah, it's one of Glee's peak moments.
It was pop. Although I did like want to be starting something. I think they put that in the beginning maybe too early for me to like think about it, but it was like they sang well.
Yeah.
So that's everything to talk about. Emily, do you have any social medias you'd like to plug?
Oh God. I mean, I'm on Instagram as the Irish Chaldean at the Irish Chaldean. Because I'm Irish and my husband is Chaldean. Or you can find me on Facebook on Emily Kassab, but I don't really get into Twitter. I only use Twitter when I want to find reactions about like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, so I can like hate them and send them to like people who I also know hate watch that show. So that's not a helpful tool. But I appreciate you asking. Yeah, anybody can find me on Facebook or Instagram.
Cool. So Gleeboot is on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. All 3 would be at GleebootPod. And then we're also on Tumblr, gleebootpod.tumblr.com.
I didn't know you guys had a TikTok.
We do. I need to post some
more.
more.
Do TikTok?
We have a TikTok, yeah.
Okay, I don't have TikTok, but I could start to watch that.
Yeah, so you can follow my other podcast, Wanderers Cove podcast on Instagram, and check out our website, and we're at Wanderers Cove, wherever podcasts are. We're finished our first season, so very exciting.
Nice.
That's dope.
Yeah.
And you can follow me on Instagram at a.m.swearingen, SWEARINGEN. And I haven't posted anything really recently, but I have some stuff that I want to post because I just like refinished my table and did some art stuff. So like eventually there will be recent stuff up there.
Yay. So Emily, thank you so much for coming on again. We hope you had fun.
Thank you for having me. I would do this anytime.
Yay.
Awesome.
It's very fun. No, because I mean, I'm going to have to ask Cullen once you guys get to the end, like, all the thoughts, all the feels. It like goes off the rails in the last season. You gotta.
Oh boy.
I need to know
Yeah. You
how
can join
everybody
us.
likes it.
You can
Yes.
pop in every once in a while on our Glee
I
journey.
do. I need to just tell me where you're at occasionally so I can be like
And so next week is the episode The Spanish Teacher, which we can only assume won't be problematic at all.
And we'll probably be focused a lot on Shu, and we're so excited to talk about our favorite character.
All right, well, we'll see you next week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.